Hello and welcome back to Gapeys Garden. It's another seed starting day. I've been starting new seeds pretty much every week since the beginning of February. We're now at the end of February, beginning of March, and it's time to start our seeds that need to be started 8 weeks before our last frost date. And for me, the last frost date is around mid-April. So depending on when that is for you, you may want to start these soon, if not already. We've got about 6 different types of flowers that we're going to be starting today, and they have different light requirements, different temperature requirements, so we're going to be going over each of those. I'll put up some chapters in the video so you can skip right to any particular flower that you are looking for more information on. And anytime you're starting, especially flowers, make sure you do some research on what the light and temperature requirements are. That'll be either on the back of the packet, and if not, you can always Google that. All right, the first seeds we're going to start are the Scabiosas. I've got 3 different varieties of these, and they're all very different. So this first one here from Eden Brothers is a starflower Scabiosa, and it's also, the botanical name is Scabiosa stellata. So these are really unique looking, and I haven't really seen these by anybody else, so they're very different. The seeds on these guys are humongous. So these guys require light to germinate, so we're not going to bury these too deeply. And since these seeds are so large, I'm going to be using this larger 6-cell tray for these, and I'm going to be starting... since we've got 3 different varieties, I'm going to do 2 cells for each variety, and I'm going to be planting, we'll do 3 seeds in each cell. So I'm just going to use a pencil here to make my holes and put our seeds in there. Now our other 2, I believe they're both Scabiosa Astroperpea, so a little bit different variety than the other one. We've got the formula mix from Johnny's here, and then this one is a Snow Maiden, which is a white one that I got from a seed swap. And I think these seeds are fairly large as well, not quite as large as our starflower seeds, but still pretty good sized. So I'm going to just do the same thing and plant 3 of these guys in each of these cells. And before we forget, I need to make sure I put my label in there so I don't forget which one is which. All right, make sure we cover those guys up. Remember, they need light to germinate, so we don't want to cover them up with too much soil. So this formula mix is a range of different colors, and the seeds look very similar to the other ones we did. As for the temperature requirements, these require 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 21 Celsius. Now I did pre-fill all of my cells with Jiffy seed starting mix. That brand seems to work the best for me. I've tried other brands, but Jiffy always seems to outperform the others. Before I move these under the lights, I am just going to give these a little bit of water. Even though I did pre-moisten the soil, I just want to add a little bit extra on top. Okay, here is our grow shelf. I'm going to be putting all of the seeds that we've started that need light on this top shelf with the onions here. I've got those under a Mars Hydro TS1000 light. I've got it about 15 inches, I think, from the top of the onions here, and I've got it at about 80% power. So that seems to be working out pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and put those in this tray here. Our Scabiosas here should germinate within 10 to 20 days. And by the way, another name for Scabiosas is pincushions. Next up, we've got our China Asters. I've got 3 different varieties here, and they also need light to germinate and require 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 21 Celsius for best germination. So we're going to go ahead and get these started. Now these seeds are much, much smaller than the Scabiosas that we just started. So these ones we're going to be starting in a 3-cell tray. So we're going to add different variety to each of these cells. So these ones, let's see, this is the apricot swirl mix. So I'm just going to sprinkle these guys on top of the soil here. And these ones from Floret are a little bit old, so I don't think we're going to have great germination. I think China Aster seeds don't store very well, so I'm really putting a lot of seeds there. And we've got, put our there, and then the other one from Floret is called Moonstone. We'll put those in the middle here. So yeah, that's a lot of seeds. And then the last one we have is a really pretty silver one. It's kind of silver with little purple, silver with light purple edges to the flowers. And these are brand new seeds, so I hope that the germination on these will be really good. So we don't need quite as many seeds as the other ones. I'm just going to add a little bit of soil on the top here, not very much. And we'll add a little bit of water to the top. And these are ready to go on our lit grow shelf. Forgot one of our labels. Our asters here should germinate within 10 to 14 days. Next up, we've got Rudbeckia. I've got 2 different varieties of this one. Actually, one of them I got from a seed swap, and I'm not sure what color they are. The most common color is yellow, so that's probably what these are. So we're going to go with those. I just got these last year, so they're pretty fresh. And these ones also require light to germinate and temperature of around 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just a little bit warmer of a range than our previous seeds that we started. Okay, and then the other variety we have, I also got from a seed swap. This one is a cherry brandy one. So this is like a really dark pink reddish color. So a little bit different than the traditional Rudbeckia. And the seeds are much smaller than the 2 flowers that we started earlier. So since these ones are so small, I'm not going to really put any soil over the top. I'm just going to kind of lightly press them into the soil. And that should be good. And again, we're going to give them a little bit of water on top and move them to our grow shelf. Rudbeckia, they say, should germinate within 5 to 21 days, which is quite the range. So it'll be interesting to see how long these actually take. All right, next up we've got Statice, and I've got 2 different mixes. One is from Johnny's, it's the formula mix, and the other one is from Eden Brothers. This is the Pacific mix. And these seeds also require light to germinate, and they prefer around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And these seeds are pretty similar size to the ones we just planted. So this one here is the Eden Brothers. These are brand new seeds this year, so we don't need too many. The germination should be pretty good on those. But the Johnny's one, these packet is from, actually I don't even see the date on here. Normally seeds will have a date somewhere, but I don't see it on this one. But these are a few years old, so I think germination may not be as good as the Eden Brothers that are brand new seeds. So we're going to add a little bit more seeds to this one just in case. Okay, and then we're going to just rub these around to get good contact with the soil. And we want to get our labels in and add a little bit of water on top. All right, off to the grow shelf we go. Our Statice should germinate in 5 to 14 days. All right, now we are on to our Gomphrena. I've got 2 different varieties of these, so I've got a little 2-cell tray here. These are yet another one that requires light to germinate and temperatures of around 70 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. We've got, let's see, this one is Johnny's seeds from 2021, so they're a little bit older. So we're going to go ahead and start these ones. So pretty okay size seeds, about the same as the last few that we started. So we're just going to sprinkle those here on top. These ones are a lot lighter color, so they're much easier to see. That's probably good. That is the pink. And then we've also got one, this one is called Raspberry Cream. So I got these ones from a seed swap recently. Hopefully they're not too old, but I just got the seeds this last fall. So there's not very many in here, so I'm going to try and spread these out fairly evenly. So since these require light to germinate, we're just going to lightly pat those down, kind of mix them around, get good contact with the soil, and then put our label in and add a little bit of water on top. And we'll put those under the lights. Our Gomphrena should germinate within 10 to 14 days. The ambient temperature of the grow room is currently about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So most of these like a little bit warmer. So I am going to use a heat mat and I'm going to set it to 70 degrees Fahrenheit because that seems to be the most common temperature that all of these would require. So I've got my thermostat here, and I'm going to set that to 70 degrees. We've got our temperature probe here, so I'm just going to stick that in one of these middle trays. So I'm going to go ahead and cover these with a humidity dome so that the soil doesn't dry out too quickly. Since they are under light, they could dry out more quickly, and we want to make sure the soil stays nice and moist. All right, the last flowers we're going to be starting today are Laceflowers. Now these do not like their roots disturbed, so we have to be really careful when transplanting or repotting these not to disturb the roots very much. And these are not like the other seeds because these ones require darkness to germinate. So we want to make sure we cover it with some towel or something so that they have darkness. So I'm just doing probably 5 rows of 4 in this tray. But the seeds aren't too big, so we don't want to bury them too far into the soil. All right, so I'm going to use a pencil just to poke those guys in a little bit. Give those a little bit of water. And we'll put these in darkness. Now our Laceflower here needs darkness and 70 to 75 degrees. And I've already got a tray here with a bunch of peppers in it that I started last week. So I'm just going to put these in the same tray as these. The temperature is a little bit warmer than 75, but not by too much, so I think it'll be okay. We've got the temperature set to 80 degrees right now, so that should be just fine. And those guys should germinate in 14 to 21 days, so they could be in here for a little while. Before we go, I just wanted to give you a quick look at how everything is doing that we started over the last month. These are all of the lettuces here. We've got our white sage there. We've got our beets and some more lettuce over there. Our spinach is probably going to go outside here before too long. They are doing pretty well and almost ready to go out, but I've got everything repotted into individual cells. This one here is the penstemon. So I got those transferred. I started some more snapdragons. So this is the second round of snapdragons that I started. The first round, I'll show you in just a second. It's up on another shelf. And I also started some pak choi. Some celery has not come up yet. It requires light to germinate, so I've got them under here. And our columbines came up. I have these starts under fluorescent lights on a different shelf. I've got some celery that I just started. Not much has come up there yet. And we've got our snapdragons. This is the first round of snapdragons, and I've got those repotted into 6 cell trays. And we have this one here in a tray by itself because that's the only one of that variety that ended up coming up. So I put him all by himself, and you can see how much bigger this one is because it has so much more room to grow. And then we've got all of our Chinense peppers here starting to put out some primary leaves. And then we've also got our Baccatum peppers that I started just last week starting to come up. And then in the back here, I've got 3 varieties of basil. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of seed starting. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.